Did you know? Your lack of success might be precisely because you're too hardworking. Your poor ability to take action might not stem from a lack of self-control, but from having too many vague options in your head. Your anxiety arises exactly because your desires far exceed your abilities, coupled with extreme impatience. Does this sound like it turns your perceptions upside down? We were taught from childhood to work hard and persist, but today, the classic book we're diving into, Cognitive Awakening, tells us that many long-standing troubles, such as anxiety, confusion, and procrastination, are not rooted in weak willpower, but in our ignorance of our own brains. In the following time, we'll explore the three-layer structure of the human brain. You'll be shocked to discover that our proud rational brain is actually the youngest and weakest among the three. We'll learn how to harness the powerful forces hidden in the subconscious, making growth no longer a painful struggle, but an interesting self-exploration. Get ready, this time we won't rely on brute force, but on wisdom to unlock the driving force of self-transformation. At the start of the video, we mentioned a subversive idea. The reason life feels tiring and change feels hard might be precisely because you're too hardworking. The root cause of your inaction isn't laziness or poor willpower, as we often assume. So where does the problem lie? The answer lies in the most familiar yet unfamiliar organ, your brain. We always think our brain is a well-designed, perfectly functioning supercomputer with a unified, rational self giving orders. But cognitive awakening tells us the truth is quite different. Our brain is more like a haphazardly assembled computer with parts from entirely different eras. It's not even a single brain, but three. These three brains are like three tenants living under the same roof, with vastly different ages, personalities, strengths, and ways of acting. Almost all the conflicts, contradictions, and pains in our lives stem from the endless power struggles between these three tenants. In this section, let's first get to know these three mysterious tenants who determine our joys and sorrows. First, meet the oldest one, dwelling deepest within. How old is he? About 360 million years. That's right, he existed when the first reptiles appeared on Earth. So the author calls him the instinctive brain, or for easier understanding, we can call him the crocodile brain. This Mr. Crocodile is an out-and-out pragmatist, a veteran survival expert. His mind only cares about four things: survival, reproduction, not being eaten, and finding food. He has no emotions and doesn't understand logic. Reasoning or appealing to feelings with him is like talking to a brick wall. The book uses a familiar example, the farmer and the snake. The farmer, out of compassion, saved a frozen snake, but the snake bit him after waking up. We always think the snake was ungrateful, but from a brain structure perspective, we've really wronged it. As a reptile, a snake's brain has no gratitude module at all. Its world consists only of the most primitive instincts. When threatened, either fight or flee. So that part of you that can't resist eating when seeing delicious food, or first thinks of escaping when facing difficulties, is controlled by this crocodile. Next, meet the second tenant, younger than the crocodile, about 200 million years old from the mammalian era. The author calls him the emotional brain, or we can call him the monkey brain. This monkey is far more advanced than the crocodile. He wields a powerful weapon, emotions. Fear keeps you away from danger. Excitement helps you focus on hunting. Joy strengthens bonds with companions. The reason we love cats and dogs is that they have this emotional brain, allowing emotional communication with us. That part of you that lingers on sadness over a glance from others, rejoices wildly over a small success, or feels anxious about an uncertain future, behind all these is this monkey controlling your emotional switches. Finally, it's our turn, the third tenant, called the rational brain by the author. He is very, very young, appearing only about 2.5 million years ago, and truly maturing just in the last 100,000 to 200,000 years. He is unique to humans and the part we're proud of. Language, art, technology, logic, planning for the future, all the complex thinking that makes us the lords of all creatures falls under his management. When we make plans, learn knowledge, or contemplate life daily, we're using this rational brain. Now, all three tenets are here: a 360-million-year-old crocodile, a 200-million-year-old monkey, and a very young wise man. The most critical question now: who is in charge in this house? You might say without hesitation, of course me, the rational brain. I'm the thinker, the decision maker. But the truth might shock you. The author uses a vivid analogy. If the crocodile's age were 100 years, the monkey would be a 55-year-old middle-aged man, while our proud rational brain is just an infant under 1 year old. Imagine an unarmed infant facing a seasoned centenarian and a strong middle-aged man. How much say could he have? This power struggle is unequal from the start. Our rational brain, though advanced, is extremely weak. First, besides being young, it develops the latest. A person's instinctive brain is nearly fully developed in infancy. The emotional brain matures in early adolescence, while the rational brain doesn't fully develop until early adulthood. This is why we're impulsive and naive when young. Second, nearly 80% of the brain's 86 billion neurons are firmly controlled by the crocodile, instinctive, and monkey, emotional brains. They are closer to the heart. In emergencies, like extreme stress, blood is prioritized to flow to them, while the rational brain's region instantly loses blood supply. This is what we call going blank. The scariest part: speed. The instinctive and emotional brains operate at an unimaginable speed, at least 11 million times per second, while the rational brain's maximum speed is a mere 40 times per second. What does this mean? When your hand touches a hot cup, the crocodile has already ordered you to jerk it back in a flash, while your rational brain might not even realize what happened. So the harsh truth is, most decisions in our lives are not made by the rational me, but by the crocodile and monkey within us. We think we're thinking, but most of the time, we're just finding reasonable excuses for decisions made by our instincts and emotions. For example, I'm too tired today. I'll start studying tomorrow. This is often not a rational plan, but the crocodile craving rest, with the rational brain forced to find a way to justify it. Now we know, an unfair power struggle, an infant versus two strong adults, plays out in our brains daily. So what tricks do these two powerful, primitive crocodile and monkey use to make us willingly choose comfort over growth? In the next section, we'll reveal the two default programs our brains come with and see how they drag us step by step into the trap of comfort. In the previous section, we were shocked to discover three tenets in our brains. The reason we often feel powerless is that in this unfair power struggle, the 1-year-old infant often can't outlast the two powerful adults. So what exactly do these two powerful primitive tenets do in our heads daily? What are their favorite tricks to make us willingly give up plans and choose to laze around? To figure this out, Cognitive Awakening uses a brilliant analogy. Imagine your brain as a company and you, or your rational brain, are the manager. You're young, ambitious, and visionary, wanting to lead the company to glory daily, setting fitness plans, reading schedules, promotion goals, and a series of grand blueprints. But there are two employees in your company: Mr. Crocodile, a veteran with seniority but little education, unambitious, eager to get off work early, believing the less trouble, the better, and Mr. Monkey, strong and energetic, but equally lacking ambition, whose life pursuit is comfort, and extremely emotional, throwing a fit at the slightest provocation. Now, as the young manager, you interact with these two employees daily. You announce passionately, "From today, we'll read for an hour every day." Before you finish, employee Crocodile shakes his head. "Reading is tiring, energy-consuming, and bad for survival. I object." Employee Monkey chimes in, "Yeah, reading is boring. Nothing beats scrolling short videos. I object too." This is the real drama playing out in our brain company daily. Though you're the manager, you're too young to have authority. All your decisions are ruthlessly dismissed by these two old employees who only care about immediate comfort. Over time, these two old employees' ways of doing things become the company's culture, or the two default programs our brains come with. Cognitive Awakening summarizes them with piercing insight. The first default program is seeking comfort and avoiding difficulty. We're naturally inclined to choose easy, comfortable, effortless things, and will do everything to avoid real difficulties. This is entirely the survival rule inherited by the crocodile and monkey from ancient times. In an era of uncertainty about the next meal, saving energy meant saving lives. So any high-energy behavior like thinking or exercising is seen by them as a huge threat to survival, to be rejected. This is why you unconsciously want to do things that don't require much thinking. These two old employees in your body are desperately protecting you from getting tired. The second default program is eagerness for quick results. We hope to see results immediately and are extremely impatient with things that don't show effects in the short term, easily giving up. This makes sense too. In the primeval forest, if you saw a fruit-laden tree, you'd pick the fruits immediately. You'd never think, I'll wait for them to grow bigger and sweeter, because by the time you returned, they'd probably be eaten by other animals. So this gene for instant gratification is deeply engraved in us. We want immediate weight loss when dieting, immediate cleverness when studying, immediate rewards at work. Once the reward cycle lengthens slightly, the monkey in you will jump around, screaming to give up. Now we know, the two employees in our brain company live by the motto, only do comfortable things, only do things with immediate benefits. But the story doesn't end here. The most interesting part is, after these two employees join forces to overthrow your wise decision to exercise and decide to lie comfortably on the sofa eating snacks and watching TV, they won't stop there. They'll walk up to you, the manager, pat your shoulder and say, "Hey, you're good at thinking and reasoning, right? Now explain to us why our decision to watch TV on the sofa today is absolutely correct." Your weak manager can't resist, so he obediently complies, using his cleverness to rationalize this lazy behavior. Thus, various voices pop up in your head. How can I lose weight without eating my fill? I'll play today, and tomorrow I'll work twice as hard to make up for the wasted time. I can't read many pages now. I might as well play games to relax. Efficiency comes from balancing work and rest. See, the whole company seems harmonious, with no one feeling guilty. This is why humans are called self-justifying animals. We think we're thinking independently, but we might just be working for our instincts and desires, becoming excuse makers on call. Now we clearly see the root of the problem, recognize these two problematic employees in the brain company and their usual tricks. We know our laziness and impatience aren't character flaws, but a structural issue of the brain. Does this mean we're helpless, at their mercy? Of course not. Though our young manager is weak, heaven has given him something the crocodile and monkey will never have, wisdom. In the next section, we'll explore humanity's unique ultimate superpower, see how to awaken it, and let this young manager learn to use strategies to truly take the wheel of the company. In the previous section, we discovered that our tendency to seek comfort and crave quick results comes from the two old employees joining forces to hijack decision-making, turning us into puppets controlled by instincts and emotions. So, in this situation, is our young manager really forced to surrender? Of course not. Along with wisdom, heaven has given him an ultimate weapon, a superpower that can fundamentally turn the tide. This ability is innate in everyone, yet most people never discover or use it in their lives. I know metacognition sounds academic and distant, but its essence is very simple. The book explains that the Chinese character yuan, which appears in the Chinese term for metacognition, means origin, primary, or supreme. So, metacognition refers to the highest level of thinking. Still a bit confusing. Let's put it another way. Imagine in 1968, when the Apollo 8 astronauts first looked back at Earth from space, they saw a complete blue planet floating in darkness. In that moment, humanity's perspective on its home was completely transformed. Metacognition gives our brains this ability to look back at Earth from space, except we're not looking at Earth, but at ourselves. Activating metacognition is like suddenly acquiring a new skill. You can instantly out of body, fly out of your body, and watch the you who is thinking, struggling, or losing temper as if watching a movie. This is the fundamental difference between humans and all other animals. A gorilla can at most recognize itself in a mirror, but it can never step out of the moment to imagine another version of itself observing it. What's it like to have this superpower? Cognitive awakening offers a particularly romantic image. Imagine you now have an invisible soulmate by your side, your most loyal, wise friend, accompanying you 24/7. When you wake up groggy in the morning and reach for your phone to scroll short videos, your soulmate gently reminds you, "Hey, wait, do you remember the most important thing today?" When you're furious over an offhand comment and ready to lash out, your soulmate pulls you back and whispers, "Take 3 seconds to calm down. Is getting angry really the best way to solve this?" What result do we really want? When you're anxious and confused, seeing a dark future, your soulmate instantly lifts you to a height of 10,000 meters and points to the version of you far below. Look from the perspective of 10 years. Is today's trouble really that big of a deal? This soulmate is the awakened higher dimensional you. It lets you hit pause at any time in the autopilot mode, controlled by instincts and emotions, reclaiming manual control. Isn't our fate made up of countless choices, big and small? A person without activated metacognition has their choices controlled by the crocodile and monkey within. A person with metacognitive ability can examine their thoughts before choosing, thus making decisions truly beneficial to long-term goals. Tiny differences in choices, accumulating over time, ultimately create completely different life paths. By now, I'm sure you're eager to know how to activate this superpower immediately and summon your soulmate. The method is simpler than you think. First, and most crucially, awareness. Cognitive awakening tells us, the moment you truly understand the concept of metacognition, this ability is irreversibly activated. Your soulmate is awakened. They're just a bit shy and need you to take the initiative to talk. Second, start asking yourself deliberate, continuous questions. This is the most direct practice. At any time, you can train your metacognitive ability like training muscles, e.g., asking, "What am I thinking right now? Why am I feeling this emotion? Are there better possibilities besides my current thoughts on this matter?" Third, and most surprisingly yet scientifically, meditation. Meditation is essentially a gym workout for metacognition. When you sit quietly and focus all attention on your breath, you'll find your thoughts drifting unconsciously. Each time you notice you're distracted and gently pull your attention back, you complete a standard metacognitive exercise. This process strengthens your soulmate. So metacognition, this seemingly esoteric term, is actually everyone's ultimate superpower to transform from a character in life's drama to the director. It's like an antivirus software in our brains, constantly monitoring and blocking virus emails and spam pop-ups from instincts and emotions. So after activating this powerful antivirus software, how do we specifically use it to solve our most troublesome problem, self-control? Why do true masters of self-control never rely on willpower to fight themselves? In the next section, we'll talk about the truth of self-control and how to completely restructure your ability to take action with a simple idea. In the previous section, we finally found the ultimate superpower that lets the young manager in the brain company turn the tide, metacognition. Now comes a practical question. How do we specifically use this superpower to solve our most exhausting problem, self-control? When we talk about self-control, the first word that comes to mind is probably willpower. We always think people with strong self-control are giants of willpower. They are resolute, can endure pain, and fight their desires like ascetics with powerful mental strength. But cognitive awakening shatters this illusion. It tells us that relying on willpower to fight instincts is like making the 1-year-old manager arm wrestle the 100-year-old crocodile employee. You'll not only lose but exhaust yourself, ending up with no confidence. So what's the real secret to self-control? Let's recall a scenario. After a tiring day at work, what do you most want to do when you get home? Probably flop on the sofa, take out your phone, and mindlessly scroll through moments, short videos, letting easy, entertaining, effortless information soothe your tired brain like a massage. Have you ever thought, in this process, you barely use willpower, it all happens automatically? This is your brain's autopilot mode, controlled by your subconscious, the 2 old employees, the crocodile and monkey, who follow the principle of energy conservation and comfort. So without active intervention, they'll default to taking you down this easiest path. The key to true self-control lies in whether you can find the manual override button on this autopilot train. What is this button? Cognitive awakening reveals it's a tiny but crucial pause. Let's look at a counterexample. Why are short video apps so addictive? Because they are designed to play the next video seamlessly and automatically after one ends. They do everything to eliminate the pause where you make choices or think. Your brain is like tied to a speeding roller coaster. Your monkey screams with excitement, while your poor manager can't even get a word in. Here's the solution. Next time you're stuck in this loop, force yourself to do nothing after a video ends. Just stare at the black screen for 5 seconds. In those short 5 seconds, a miracle happens. Your forgotten soulmate, your metacognition, finally gets a chance to speak. It'll ask, "Hey, we've been scrolling for half an hour. Is this really what we want to do right now?" That single question wakes you from autopilot, letting you take the wheel again. This pause is the only chance for your rational brain to intervene. But is pressing pause enough? No. Imagine successfully pausing the video, but looking up to see a messy desk and a blank mind, with no idea what to do next. Your monkey employee will say, "See how boring this is? It was more fun before, let's keep going." So you'll likely fall back into the loop. Thus, we reveal the ultimate truth of self-control. The biggest enemy of taking action, the root of procrastination, is not temptation, but vagueness. When your goal is, "I want to study hard on the weekend," it's vague. Studying could mean reading book A, book B, writing an article, or organizing notes. Your brain, facing so many vague options, feels enormous uncertainty, and our brains are naturally averse to uncertainty. To escape this mentally draining state, it'll choose the only clear path. Pick up your phone, open that familiar app, do the easiest, most immediately rewarding thing. So you see, our loss of control isn't because temptation is too strong, but because the positive goals we set are too vague. The solution is surprisingly simple. The most powerful weapon against vagueness is its opposite, clarity. We must learn to lay a single, clear, fork-free highway in our brains before acting, leaving no choice but to move forward. To do this, you only need a humble tool, a pen and paper. Juling, author of Cognitive Awakening, shares a foolish method he's used for years. Spend 10 minutes each night with an ordinary notebook. Write down all things to do the next day, big or small, sort them, mark the most important as 1, and roughly plan time slots next to them. The magic of this action, the moment you write it down, you pour out all vague, chaotic thoughts, instantly clearing your brain. The goals on paper are no longer vague ideas, but specific, definite instructions. Waking up the next morning, no thinking is needed. Your brain sees only one clear path. Do the thing marked 1, scheduled for 9 a.m. The author calls these 10 minutes of planning meta time, the most weighted and precious time of the day. The more effort you put here to create clarity, the more mental energy you'll save from vagueness and hesitation throughout the day. Thus, the secret to self-control isn't fighting with willpower, but using clarity to cut through all vagueness and uncertainty before acting. When we learn to actively create clarity with our rational brain, we initially master the way to control our actions. But does our brain only understand logic and planning? In areas beyond logic and planning, like inspiration, intuition, talent, are there more mysterious, powerful wisdom hidden in our brains? Have you ever thought? Sometimes top-level growth requires letting go of overthinking and trusting your feelings. In the next section, we'll explore that mysterious, wisdom-filled zone in the brain, the subconscious. In previous sections, we emphasized using our rational brain, activating metacognition, and using clarity to overcome vagueness, thus taking control of our lives. It sounds like we need to strive to be absolutely rational, precise decision-makers like robots. But our brains, the most sophisticated creation of hundreds of millions of years of evolution, really only give us logic as a path. If reason is our map and compass, is there a more mysterious, powerful force beyond this map to guide us? Cognitive awakening reveals a more surprising secret. Sometimes top-level growth requires letting go of overthinking and trusting feelings. Does this sound metaphysical? Let's look at two true stories. During World War II, British Prime Minister Churchill once inspected an air raid shelter late at night. When ready to leave, his assistant opened the car door for him, but he suddenly walked to the other side, opened the door, and got in. Shortly after closing the door, a bomb fell near the side he'd originally planned to enter. When asked why he switched, Churchill said, "As I was about to get in, a voice said, 'Stop.'" Similarly, US President Lincoln once made a major decision based on feeling. A friend recommended a cabinet member, but Lincoln refused after meeting him. When asked why, Lincoln's answer was surprisingly simple: "I don't like his face." The friend protested, "How can you judge by appearance? He can't help his looks." Lincoln replied, "No, by 40, a man is responsible for his face." Interesting, isn't it? Two great figures known for reason and wisdom made major decisions so emotionally. Is this coincidence, superstition, or did they grasp higher wisdom we don't know? The answer lies in the subconscious we often ignore. We always think the subconscious holds Freud's primitive, dangerous desires, but cognitive awakening tells us the subconscious is a double-edged sword. On one side live the comfort-seeking crocodile and monkey we mentioned, but on the other, it hides a supercomputer, equivalent to a galaxy-class computer built into everyone. Remember our young, weak rational brain manager? His processing speed, 40 times per second. What about the subconscious? The book gives a staggering number, at least 11 million times per second, a 270,000-fold difference. What does this mean? It's like your rational brain is a person strolling on the sidewalk, while your subconscious is a superluminal spaceship already beyond the solar system. This huge speed gap causes cognitive dissonance. Often, your subconscious spaceship has long reached the destination, seen the truth, and sent an extremely faint signal to you, still strolling on Earth. This signal might come as a strange, inexplicable discomfort when meeting someone, a sudden flutter of anxiety when facing a choice, or a flash of insight when stuck. This is the source of feelings, not vague, but the final conclusion after your subconscious processes massive information. But because your rational brain is too slow, it can't understand how this conclusion was reached. So it often ignores the signal, or even, like before, makes up reasons to deny it.
So how do we use this built-in supercomputer to help us learn and grow better? By learning through feeling. For example, when reading a book, don't try to memorize the entire framework. Just read with feeling. When a viewpoint or story suddenly gives you an aha moment, or makes you think, "So that's it, stop immediately." This click is your subconscious tapping the blackboard. Hey, this is what you need most right now. Then, dig deep into this trigger point, think, and connect it to your life.
Similarly, when doing exercises or learning a new skill, follow your feelings. Put aside what feels too easy or too hard at a glance. Focus only on what feels sort of doable but requires effort. Why is feeling such an accurate navigator? Because pure instinct wants to keep you in the effortless comfort zone, while pure reason is overly ambitious, pushing you to challenge the hardest tasks. This feeling, this wisdom of the subconscious, knows your current ability boundary best. It gently pushes you into the stretch zone most suitable for growth, where you feel challenged yet accomplished, making rapid progress. Thus, our brains have not only a logic planning manager, but also an intuition master with supercomputing power. Learning to listen to its voice helps us find our unique growth rhythm. So after using this wisdom to find the best growth zone, the edge of the comfort zone mentioned repeatedly, how do we practice here to maximize each effort? In the next section, we'll explore the best path to growth and how to achieve the most efficient personal evolution at the edge of the comfort zone. In the previous section, we learned to listen to the intuition master in our subconscious. Like a precise navigator, it always guides us to the golden zone most suitable for our current growth, the stretch zone. We know growth isn't about more pain or more comfort, but about reaching peak efficiency in that just right place. So what exactly is this magical stretch zone, or edge of the comfort zone? How do we use this principle to make each effort accurately hit the fast track of growth, instead of ending up in a self-moving cycle of self-impression? First, let's break a deep-rooted myth. We were taught, no pain, no gain. We always think setting grander goals and pushing ourselves to the limit with willpower leads to success. But a true story from a reader in Cognitive Awakening gives the opposite insight. This reader, Amy, once ordered herself to grow, run for an hour and study English for an hour daily. She persisted with strong willpower for a long time, but the process was painful. After running, she felt exhausted. After studying English, she was irritable. Finally, she gave up. Later, she adjusted her strategy, halving the goals to 30 minutes each. A miracle happened. With lower standards, she no longer relied on willpower. Instead, she actively found ways to persist. The process became enjoyable, her motivation grew, and eventually, it created compound effects.
This is counterintuitive. Why did less effort lead to better results? The secret, Cognitive Awakening reveals, is the matching principle. Our ability range is like a target, clearly divided into 3 zones. The innermost bullseye is the comfort zone, where everything feels effortless and familiar. It's safe, but we grow nothing here. We might even get bored and distracted. The outermost ring is the difficulty zone, where tasks far exceed current abilities. Forcing ourselves here only brings frustration, fear, and avoidance, draining confidence and enthusiasm. Amy's initial 1-hour plan unconsciously threw her here, making it so painful.
Between these 2 zones lies a precious golden zone, the stretch zone, or edge of the comfort zone. Tasks here feel both achievable and challenging, like standing on tiptoes to reach something. Almost all progress happens here, where we easily enter a state of flow. Amy's later 30-minute plan accurately positioned her here, letting her persist effortlessly. This principle applies beyond learning. It's a universal method, the book says. For fitness, pushing until muscle fatigue creates micro tears in the stretch zone, making muscles stronger after repair. For reading, don't blindly follow expert book lists. Books that fit an expert's stretch zone might be in your difficulty zone. Choose books that meet your current needs with moderate difficulty, and you'll read with joy. For children's learning, top student secrets aren't just hard work, but knowing to focus on their stretch zone, spending time on what they can do but often get wrong, or what they can't do but can understand with a little effort, achieving efficient progress. Thus, growth isn't about painful self-coercion or comfortable stagnation. It's a precise art, continuously making wise, small experiments at the edge of your comfort zone. This means no quick fixes, as our ability circle can only expand bit by bit. But the good news is, follow this matching rule, be friends with time, and growth is almost inevitable. Now we've found the best location for growth, the edge of the comfort zone. We know to progress fastest, we must stay in this golden zone. But is just being there enough? What kind of learning here counts as true deep learning, not inefficient spinning? In the next section, we'll bid farewell to fake learning and see how to make knowledge truly take root in your brain. In the previous section, we successfully found the best location for growth, the edge of the comfort zone. But a new question arises: is just being there enough? What kind of learning here counts as true deep learning, not fake diligence that goes in circles? Let's first look at the common state of modern learners. Open your phone, and condensed knowledge from books, digestible in minutes, is readily available. Open your favorites, and hundreds of unread in-depth articles lie there. Your computer hard drive stores various unopened course files. We seem busy and hardworking, even moved by our own eagerness to improve. But at night, we feel anxious. Why do I remember nothing despite learning so much? Why hasn't my life changed substantially? Cognitive awakening unflinchingly reveals the truth. We might be trapped in low-level diligence. The book presents a classic yet striking model, like a mirror reflecting the truth of our learning efficiency, the learning pyramid. It tells us human learning methods fall into two categories. The bottom of the pyramid is passive learning, such as listening, reading, watching videos, easy and comfortable, but with knowledge retention rates: 5% for listening, 10% for reading, 20% for watching videos. You see, most of what we consider learning is in this inefficient zone. The upper part of the pyramid is active learning, such as discussing, practicing, and the most powerful method at the top, teaching others. These require active participation and are harder, but knowledge retention soars to 50%, 75%, or even an astonishing 90%. The gap is huge.
So how do we climb from the bottom to the top of the pyramid? What's the key to transitioning from passive to active learning? Cognitive awakening gives a core answer. Shallow learning satisfies input, while deep learning emphasizes output. The author uses a brilliant metaphor in the book: stitching knowledge. He believes any new knowledge we learn is like a loose button. If you just toss it in your pocket, like clicking save, it doesn't truly belong to you and will soon be forgotten. You must pick up a needle and thread, your existing knowledge system, and stitch this new button into your cognitive coat with your own hands. Only then will it not be lost, truly serving you. This active stitching process is output.
Many of us take notes or make mind maps by simply copying the book's outline and key points. This is just knowledge restatement, far from output. True output requires reinterpreting and creating with your own words. The ultimate test of whether you truly grasp knowledge is teaching it to someone who knows nothing. When trying to teach, you'll rack your brain to use metaphors, examples, and connections, explaining complex concepts simply. This process is the most efficient, deepest stitching, forcing you to transform knowledge. The author uses another metaphor. Our thoughts are like gaseous water vapor, drifting aimlessly. When spoken, they become liquid water. Only when written down do they truly condense into solid ice. Only this solid, crystallized knowledge, polished by our own hands, truly belongs to us. So from now on, shift the focus of learning from frantically hoarding information to consciously producing results. We now know, true learning isn't an information hoarding contest, but a knowledge craft. It requires us to slow down, carefully stitch each valuable point, making it a solid part of our cognitive system. But this brings us back to the most fundamental, troubling question. We now know the best place to learn, the stretch zone, and the best posture, deep output. So why do our feet feel glued to the ground, delaying the first step of practice? How do we break the ultimate spell? I know the principle, but I just can't follow through. In the next section, we'll confront this core dilemma and uncover the hidden secrets behind taking action. In the previous section, we finally mastered the correct way to learn. But how do we break that spell? I know the reasoning, but I just can't act on it. But I can't do it that haunts countless people. We always think the gap between knowing and doing is laziness, procrastination, or weak willpower. But cognitive awakening tells us we might have misunderstood the true relationship between knowing and doing from the start. Let's do a thought experiment. Imagine learning to ride a bike for the first time. You could watch 100 tutorial videos, master the principles of balance, pedaling, and steering. At this point, do you know how to ride? Of course. But can you ride immediately? Absolutely not. You'd wobble and flail. Only after countless practices, even falls, letting your body form muscle memory and your brain's neurons build strong connections, can you truly ride. You see, for physical skills like riding, swimming, or playing the piano, we clearly know a path of extensive practice lies between knowing and doing. But here's the fascinating part. When it comes to cognition, our brains deceive us. When reading or hearing an enlightening truth, like metacognition is humanity's ultimate ability, your brain secretes dopamine in that moment. You feel intense joy and satisfaction, as if you instantly possess this ability. Your brain, by simulating it mentally, anticipates the pleasure of achievement in advance. It's a mental express payment, too easy, too tempting. The monkey in us, craving instant gratification, loves this. It says, "See, you get it now, you've changed, we've succeeded." As for the boring, hard practice afterward, forget it.so. We stop at the moment of knowing, never stepping onto the path of doing, which requires extensive practice. This is the first secret of knowing but not doing. Our brains treat cognition as instant satisfaction, fast food, ignoring that it, like riding a bike, is a skill requiring deliberate practice. But there's more. Beyond this brain trick, a deeper paradox makes us rational beings often fall into overthinking leads to inaction. The paradox is this: we always want to see results before taking action. We want others to give us a 100% certain map, guaranteeing success if followed, otherwise, we refuse to start. We fear detours and wasted effort. But cognitive awakening points out, this is the biggest trap in growth. The book says, those who want to see results before acting often never see them. Why? Your current cognitive level is like standing at the foot of a mountain. You can't imagine or understand the grandeur of the summit. Judging the value of climbing from the foot of the mountain, you'll likely think, too tiring, not worth it. You can never deduce high-level rewards with low-level thinking. Just as you can't see all details of a distant target with binoculars from the spot, you can only take steps toward it. As you get closer, it becomes clearer. So how to break this overthinking leads to inaction paradox? Cognitive awakening offers a subversive method: learn to be a fool. This fool isn't truly stupid but wise, someone who, once you firmly recognize a valuable truth, you stop caring about trivial gains and losses and stop demanding immediate rewards. And act steadfastly without asking about the future. Author Zhu Ling shares that his biggest changes came from 2 foolish acts: typing out all articles from a favorite writer's column, word by word, and keeping a reflection diary for 160 days. He had no idea these would help, but these 2 result ignoring foolish actions completely reshaped his cognition and life. Of course, some might say, I tried, persisted for a week with no effect. This leads to the final key to action. You must act continuously until breaking the threshold. Any change requires energy accumulation. Like water heated to 99 degrees Celsius is still water. You must keep heating to break 100 degrees Celsius, causing boiling and transformation. Our growth is the same. Half-hearted efforts are like 99 degrees Celsius water, hot, but never breaking through. The author says he doesn't use 21 days as a standard for habit building. He requires at least 6 months. He knows, only beyond that critical point do real changes and habits form. Thus, the key to the unity of knowledge and action isn't about finding more principles, but 3 other things: clearly recognizing cognition as a skill requiring deliberate practice, not fast food. Second, bravely being a fool who acts first without asking about the future. Third, acting continuously, giving yourself enough time and patience to break the threshold of transformation. With your cognition refreshed and your drive to take action awakened, we can truly apply this underlying wisdom to daily life. In the final section, we'll give you a practical growth package, showing how to turn cognitive awakening into daily action. At the end of the video, author Ju Ling offers an invaluable, ready-to-use growth package, the 5 life essentials. These are 5 habits anyone can adopt with low cost but incredible returns: waking up early, meditation, reading, writing, and exercising. I know these sound cliched, but the book's magic lies in offering new, brain science-backed hacks for each familiar habit. First essential, waking up early. The hack: ditch your alarm clock. Yes, you read that right. We think waking up early is a fierce battle with the bed, requiring multiple alarms to blast us up with willpower. But the book says this leaves you groggy all day and makes you hate waking up. Scientific early rising hinges on aligning with our 90-minute sleep cycles. Calculate to wake at 4.5, 6, or 7.5 hours. Your body will be in light sleep, waking up refreshed. By sensing this biological clock and adjusting gradually, you'll find waking up can be natural and easy, not painful self-torture. Second essential, meditation. The hack: treat it as brain fitness. Meditation may seem mysterious, but cognitive awakening says it's the best way to exercise metacognition. Imagine your attention as 7 balls being juggled in your hand. The average person's state: balls flying everywhere, one on work, one on dinner, one on worries. Meditation is deliberate practice, focusing all these balls on one simple thing, your breath, for a while. You'll get distracted. Gently pull your attention back each time. That's a mental pull-up, strengthening your focus and self-awareness. Third essential, reading. The hack: don't aim to remember, aim to change. We think reading requires speed and quantity, feeling defeated if we forget content. But Cognitive Awakening's core view: reading isn't for knowing, but for changing. Even if you forget 99% of a book, if one point or sentence truly touches you, sparking a small, positive change the next day, that book is invaluable. So let go of quantity and memory anxiety. See reading as a treasure hunt. Your goal isn't to carry the whole mountain, but find the gem that lights up your life now. Fourth essential, writing. The hack: the best learning is teaching others. Many fear writing, thinking poor skills or lack of content. But the book says writing is first for learning, not expression. The only test of true understanding is explaining it simply to a layperson. Writing forces us to organize vague, networked thoughts into clear, linear words. This is the deepest thinking, the process of stitching and internalizing knowledge. Fifth essential, exercising. The hack: your body is your soul's power bank. We've long been misled by a strong body, simple mind, but modern neuroscience proves exercise strengthens not just the body, but the brain. It directly promotes new neurons, but here's the secret: these new neurons are like blank seeds. If you lie down scrolling after exercise, they'll die. You must do challenging mental activities afterward: reading, problem solving, deep thinking, to activate them, making them take root. So don't say no time to exercise. It's the underlying code for efficient learning and work. Thus, these 5 simple things, waking up early, meditation, reading, writing, exercising, hide profound brain and cognitive laws. They are the best path to turn cognitive awakening into daily action. Cognitive awakening offers more than methods. It's a new perspective on ourselves and the world. It teaches us that growth doesn't have to be painful self-conflict, but rather a surprising journey of self-exploration. True change comes from clear cognition, not from cheap willpower. Thank you for watching. See you in the next book.